Cities don't just bring people together. They power imaginations and nurture new thinking. They're champions of culture, testbeds for ideas, and catalysts for inclusive climate action. Driven forward by those who live, breathe, and shape these cities. For over 20 years, C40 has been uniting the world's greatest cities on climate. From London to Lagos, Beijing to Bogotá, mayors are setting the leadership standard for science-based solutions. Solutions that put fairness front and centre, delivering cleaner air, healthier streets, and good green jobs. Protecting the people and the places we love. The next 5 years are critical. At a time of uncertainty and risk, the world needs leadership that unifies, not divides, that delivers rather than delays. Across political lines and on the climate front lines, an alliance for action is taking shape. C40 and its mayors believe in a future where we are stronger together. The climate fight needs all of us. The time is now. Let's build that future together.
Good morning, everyone. Bom dia, Rio de Janeiro. What an incredible performance of Orquestra da Maré. Foi muito lindo. It's a truly vibrant welcome to the C40 World Mayors Summit that we have here. My name is Vanessa Desen. I'm Brazil Bureau Chief by Bloomberg News. And I'm honored to be here with you today as we convene in Rio and kick off the COP30 Local Leaders Forum. This gathering of local leaders is a proof that despite being an era of climate denial, disinformation, cities are continuing to set a powerful standard for climate leadership, offering a source of hope for the people and for the cities we love, like Rio de Janeiro. This C40 World Mayors Summit would not be possible without Bloomberg Philanthropies and the general support of our sponsors, especially gold sponsor Novo Nordisk. A special profound thank you must go to Mike Bloomberg for his unparalleled support in enabling city-led action and global impact, for hosting this Local Leaders Forum. So, we all know Rio is Cidade Maravilhosa, the wonderful city, a city known for its urban resilience and renewal. To officially welcome you to Rio, please join me welcoming the former C40 chair, co-host of this C40 World Mayors Summit, and a leader who changed this city during a cycle of global events, including the Rio+20 conference, the Olympic Games, Mayor Eduardo Paes of Rio de Janeiro.
Assim, eu vou começar em inglês, mas depois eu volto em português. Então, preparem os microfones aí. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Rio. Bem-vindos todos ao Rio de Janeiro. That's the story here, Sadiq, dear friends, mayors from all over the world, and especially my fellow Brazilian mayors. Reporter once asked the great Brazilian maestro, Tom Jobim, and they were just playing Tom Jobim now here, why he so often exalted the natural beauty of Rio in his songs, if there was an ecological attitude of his part. He replied, quote, well, when I first started with these ecological attitudes, I didn't even know they were ecological. I didn't even know that word. I only heard it years later in New York, and I thought to myself, is this the science that studies the echo? And then he said, the truth is, I grew up looking at this beautiful forest, pointing to the wonderful Tijuca National Forest that you can see from many places in Rio. I grew up watching the little monkeys jump through the trees, hearing the birds. So it's not that I'm ecological, I am Brazilian. So if you excuse me, since we have simultaneous interpretation, I'll continue in our beautiful Portuguese, which for me is the true language of my nature. Então, acabou a parte aqui em inglês. Eu queria, mais uma vez, dar meus bem-vindos, minhas boas-vindas aqui à plenária de abertura do C40 World Mayors Summit. Essa é a maior cúpula que já fizemos. Ela marca também a abertura do Fórum de Líderes Locais da COP30, reunindo prefeitos, governadores e outros líderes locais que representam cidades, estados e regiões de todo o planeta. Eu gostaria, sobretudo, de agradecer ao co-chair do C40 e prefeito de Londres, Sadikhan, por ter escolhido o Rio para a realização dessa cúpula. Essa é uma decisão que muito nos orgulha. Quando estive em Londres, eu disse a ele que o Rio era a cidade mais incrível do mundo e, pelo jeito, ele se convenceu. Ele dá um jeito de sempre dizer que o Rio é a segunda melhor cidade do mundo. Estou imaginando que ele acha que Londres seja a primeira. Como nós não somos indelicados com nossos visitantes, nós vamos permitir que o senhor pense isso, apesar de não ser verdade. Agradecer muito a Bloomberg Philanthropies, meu amigo e eternamente prefeito Michael Bloomberg, por serem nossos co-anfitriões no Local Leaders Forum, junto à presidência brasileira da COP. O Brasil demonstrou um merecido reconhecimento às lideranças locais ao integrar esse fórum à agenda oficial da COP30, e por isso nós somos muito gratos. Leve nossos cumprimentos a Antônio e ao todo o time da COP30. Ao longo dos próximos dias, nós vamos mostrar como lideranças locais já estão alcançando resultados concretos na luta contra mudanças climáticas e tudo que temos a entregar durante o próximo ano. Também vamos deixar claro que é preciso que sejamos ouvidos e que governos subnacionais sejam incluídos como verdadeiros parceiros na discussão da COP. Sobretudo, é necessário mais financiamento disponível para a ação climática urbana. Já é passada a hora de fortalecermos a arquitetura global de financiamento climático e direcionarmos os recursos de forma justa e eficiente, principalmente para as cidades do chamado Sul Global, historicamente preteridas. Desde a Rio 92 até o momento atual de ação multinível, o Rio é testemunha da evolução do movimento climático global. Hoje a gente celebra aqui um marco, 20 anos da C40 e 10 anos do acordo daquela que a prefeita também está aqui e acha que é a cidade mais bonita do mundo, nossa querida Anne Hidalgo de Paris, aqui presente. Pode bater palmas para ela, seria gentil e elegante. E devemos ter orgulho do que as cidades alcançaram juntas nesse tempo, mas ainda há muito para ser feito. Juntos vamos transformar negociação em ação. É com esse espírito que a gente está pronto para nos juntarmos aos governos nacionais em Belém, trabalhando lado a lado como em um mutirão, para transformar promessas em progresso, desafios em soluções e construir um futuro de sustentabilidade e desenvolvimento para todos. Muito obrigado, thank you, and now I'm delighted to introduce you To you, a special video message from Antônio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations. Viva o Rio de Janeiro, viva o Brasil, viva a cidade.
Excellencies, 10 years after Paris, a new clean energy economy has emerged. Renewables are powering growth, creating millions of jobs, and making energy more accessible and affordable. Around the world, cities, regions, and local leaders like you are driving this transformation, often faster than national governments, investing in green technologies, cutting pollution, and protecting communities. The direction of travel is now clear. Continuing to invest in fossil fuels is a dead end, but the task before us remains immense. We are far from closing the emissions gap, far from getting on track for a 1.5-degree future, far from protecting vulnerable communities from climate catastrophe. And the science is clear, the economics are compelling, and the moral case is undeniable. COP30 must mark the start of a decade of acceleration and deliver a clear plan to close the gaps on ambition, adaptation, and finance. Local leadership will be the force that turns this plan to life. By working with governments to fully implement national climate plans and foster investment, by investing in resilient cities, clean transportation, and early warning systems, and by delivering just transitions that bring jobs, dignity, and hope. A decade ago, bold leadership gave us the Paris Agreement and the Sustainable Development Goals. Today, we must summon that same courage and solidarity to make the clean energy revolution the engine of climate justice. Together, we can power a livable future for all, and I thank you.
What a great introduction from the UN Secretary General. And a huge thank you, Mayor Pais, for that welcome, warm welcome. So our next speaker is the co-chair of C40 Cities and a global leader committed to climate action. It's Mayor Sadiq Khan. He has been chair of the C40 Cities since 2021 and co-chair since 2023, and was the key advocate for establishing the co-chair model to ensure greater equity and representation across global North and global South cities. Under his leadership, the C40 network has proven that city action works. And now some interesting numbers for you. 3 in 4 C40 cities are reducing per capita emissions faster than their national governments. This progress is powered by bold policies like the mayor's expansion of London's Clean Air Zone, now the largest clean air zone in the world, bringing cleaner air to millions of Londoners daily and helping his city achieve legal air pollution limits. That's all 200 years sooner than expected and predicted by experts when he first became mayor in 2016. Mayor Khan recently secured a third-term re-election. He has shown that city leaders must stand up to climate denial and accelerate delivery. He is here now to articulate how this decisive action is the new global model. Please welcome the co-chair of C40 Cities and Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan.
Well, good morning, bom dia. Can I thank the Mayor of Rio, not only for his warm welcome, but for his exceptional climate leadership. On behalf of London and C40, obrigado, Mayor Pais. Welcome to the biggest ever gathering of mayors, the C40 World Mayors Summit. It's a great honour to join you all in this magical city that is so rich in culture, creativity and beauty, and yes, the second greatest city in the world. So I spent this morning with some dear friends, mayor friends, and we never argue except on this issue. So Anne Hidalgo was claiming Paris is the greatest city in the world. Efon Akisawa claiming Freetown is the greatest city. Eric was claiming Oslo is the greatest city. Beppe Sala claiming Milan is the greatest city. We can't agree on the greatest city, but I'm sure we can all agree that Rio is the second greatest city in the world. Anyway, it's fantastic to be here and see firsthand how Mayor Pires is transforming Rio into a beacon of sustainability, from creating new green jobs to decarbonising public transport and developing Brazil's first low-emission zone. The work being done here is vital and it is inspiring. It's also proof of the value and power of C40, the steps Rio is taking to clean up its air and bring down emissions have become strides thanks to Mayor Pires' leadership and C40 and Breathe Cities. I'm proud, as you've heard, that my city, London, has contributed to this movement through our experiences with our own clean air zone. In London, our ultra-low emission zone has delivered massive environmental benefits, helping to cut carbon and tackle toxic air. You know, when I took office as mayor in 2016, experts told me that without additional action, it would take 193 years to bring our air pollution within legal limits. Following the expansion of our policies, we've done it in 9 years. That shows that not only is ambitious climate action possible, but that with a little will, we can overcome the cynicism. We can overcome the opposition, vested interests, and misinformation. We can deliver meaningful green policies that enhance the welfare and well-being of our communities. And thanks to C40, thanks to the mayors in this room, from Barcelona to Bogota, Athens to Accra, these kinds of initiatives are not confined to one small corner at one particular moment. No, they're going global, growing, expanding, blossoming across borders, building a formidable momentum that's protecting our climate and our people, and accelerating our urgent transition to a low-carbon world. This is the purpose, and this is the story of C40. You know, over the last 20 years, consider what we've achieved. More than 3/4 of C40 cities reducing emissions faster than their national governments. All our members committed to halving fossil fuel consumption by the end of the decade. And that's not all. We're on track to meet our target of delivering 50 million good green jobs by 2030. And today, I can announce new clean air targets agreed by mayors of 50 C40 cities that help to prevent thousands of needless premature deaths. I'm also excited to announce that 3/4 of C40 cities have already peaked their emissions, and we're reducing emissions per capita 5 times faster than the rest of the world. But we can't let up. And that's why, in the spirit of the COP30's presidency's call to move from negotiation to action, today C40 is putting forward its yearly offer of action. Because we recognize that now is not the time to run down the clock, but to up the pace. So we're setting out what C40 cities will be doing to tackle the climate emergency, not in 5, not in 10, not in 15 years, but over the next 12 months. It includes, for example, Milan expanding the EU's largest low-emission zone, Oslo introducing new regulations to make construction projects cleaner, Paris insulating thousands of social homes to cut energy consumption, Santiago expanding green spaces in the city, and London putting solar panels on our schools. Once again, through partnership and collaboration, C40 is showing that the way to tackle the challenge that transcends borders is to work across them. This isn't new or novel to most of the mayors in this room. We know that we've long been the climate doers, while too many nation-states have been the climate delayers, or indeed climate deniers. But the challenge we face today is stark. It's no longer simply a case of climate doers versus climate deniers. Now it's an existential fight between the climate wreckers and us, the climate defenders. And let's be clear, foremost among the wreckers is the President of the United States of America. Someone who stood up at the United Nations only a matter of weeks ago and called the climate crisis a scam. The climate wreckers want to chain us to the fossil fuels of the past, vandalizing our planet and vandalizing our homes with boiling temperatures, more pollution, and more climate-induced disasters. But the likes of the C40, the climate defenders, offer us an alternative. They offer our people freedom, dignity, and hope. The freedom of lower bills and better health, the dignity of a secure and well-paid green job, the hope of a fairer, safer, cleaner, brighter, and more prosperous tomorrow. Let me end, friends, by saying this. The fight between those wrecking our planet and those defending it is the defining battle of our time. It demands urgency, courage, and grit, not delay or excuses. But imagine looking back in years to come and knowing we didn't flinch, that we chose action over apathy, that when history asked who stood up, our cities answered. You know, the last time Brazil won the Football World Cup was in 2002. Ronaldo, the original Ronaldo, scored both goals. The legendary manager, Luis Felipe Scolari, spoke of the, and I quote, joy of knowing we did our job, even though, in his words, it took hard work every single day. Our task will be tough. It should be. But if we stay united, if we stay relentless, and if we work hard every single day, we too will feel that joy, knowing we did our job for future generations and for our planet. I hope we have a great C40 World Mayors Summit. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor, for your powerful words. Thank you very much. Now, we turn to a vital voice representing the urgency and innovation of the Global South. Our next speaker is an economist, an advocate for multilateral action, and a keen champion of youth engagement. As co-chair of C40 since 2023, Mayor Yvonne Akisoya, OBE, has led Freetown's groundbreaking Freetown Transforming Lives plan, which has included the planting of 1.2 million trees. Her message, please. It is powerful. Her message is also essential. The climate crisis is a crisis of inequality, something that for us in the Global South is very known, and mayors must step up to protect the vulnerable. Please join me in welcoming the co-chair of C40 Cities and Mayor of Freetown, Yvonne Akisoya. Wonderful to see you again.
Distinguished mayors, colleagues, partners, and friends, it is such an honor to be here with so many leaders who share a common vision to deliver the bold and decisive climate leadership humanity so urgently needs. In a world, and reference has been made just now by my brother Sadiq Khan, of daunting climate headlines, of denial, and of regression, it's easy to think that real ambition is yesterday's news. But as co-chair of C40 Cities, I actually see a different story. As I visit member cities across the world, I'm not left with despair, but with a profound sense of hope. What I witness time and time again is a powerful dynamic of ambition working in tandem with engaged communities, with political ambition working in tandem with innovative businesses and with like-minded partners. This is a virtuous collective that drives real change. Partnerships are key. But even with those partnerships, I think most of us in this room know that city leaders stand in the front lines of this climate crisis. And for many cities in the Global South, the impacts of climate breakdown are not distant threats. They are daily reality. Hurricane Melissa's devastating impact on Jamaica just a few days ago. The severe flooding in Mexico last month, and the devastating landslide in Darfur, Sudan, which led to the loss of 379 people with 1,000 missing in September. It is clear that the impact of climate change continues to induce floods, landslides, mudslides, and other unnatural disasters that are devastating lives and livelihoods. But there's one devastating impact which is silent, and that is extreme heat. Global warming and the resultant locally rising temperatures are having a real negative impact that is affecting the market woman in my city and the man standing at a bus stop in yours. Many cities around the world are getting hotter, and climate change is making extreme heat more common. In 2024, my sister, Mayor Kate Galgo of Phoenix, experienced an unprecedented 113 consecutive days with temperatures at least 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Record-breaking temperatures across Tokyo in 2025 happened with 10 consecutive days above 35 degrees. Together, these global and local temperatures highlight an increasing frequency and intensity of heat events worldwide. Extreme heat actually stands now as the deadliest weather-related disaster, contributing to an estimated 489,000 deaths each year. And the economic consequences are staggering. It is estimated that global extreme heat is projected to cause $2.4 trillion of lost productivity by 2030, as it becomes too dangerous for workers outdoors in key sectors like construction and agriculture. These headlines and these figures may be very daunting, but mayors are not daunted. Mayors are galvanizing. Mayors throughout our network, C40 and beyond, are working at solutions such as tree planting and reflective roofs, nature-based designs, and heat early warning systems. In my city of Freetown, we have, as you just heard, planted 1.2 million trees, and we've set ourselves a target of 5 million by 2030. And earlier this year, Freetown hosted the first ever African Urban Heat Summit, bringing together city leaders, scientists, development partners, and communities to co-design solutions to extreme heat as part of our broader heat action plans. And this is because as cities, we have made a promise. We've made a promise to deliver a climate response that creates good, sustainable jobs, a climate response that provides clean, affordable power to more of our residents, and a climate response that tackles poverty, cuts emissions, and creates a just transition. So today, I am honored to stand here representing not just my city, but many of my fellow C40 leaders, mayors from around the globe, to inform you that we've created an innovative platform that will help us deliver solutions, develop solutions, and deliver them for extreme heat. Today, we unveil the C40 Cool Cities Accelerator to equip mayors with tools and structures to deliver a strategic, coordinated, and cross-departmental response in preparation and in response to extreme heat. There are in this room representatives of the 33 mayors who have endorsed and delivered an action plan committed to turning a climate crisis into an opportunity to build cooler, safer, and fairer cities. And may I use this opportunity to ask all the Cool City Accelerator members and mayors present in this room to stand up. Cool. Thank you all for your commitment. Thank you all for your dedication. The C40 Cool Cities Accelerator will ensure cross-agency coordination and provide city-wide and long-term solutions to both protect and transform. Protect because the need is immediate. We need immediate and concerted action to save the lives of people already affected by extreme heat. Transform because we must transform our cities by investing in long-term solutions to cool our cities through what we build, the materials we use to build, the designs that we have, both in terms of the stationary and the transit in our places of work and as we get to work, indoor and outdoor, and how we ensure that our energy, our water, and our infrastructure are resilient to rising temperatures. Let me recognize at this point the C40 presidency and the Beat the Heat initiative that we are committed to supporting. May I also recognize some of our funders who've made it possible for this accelerator to be started, Rockefeller and Climate Works, for pioneering funding in this space to allow us to have forward-thinking local governance as key to the heat solution. And please, I must also recognize other supporters, the Danish Ministry of Foreign Affairs, RWJF, and IBM. Within the next 5 years to 2030, whilst continuing to aggressively reduce carbon emissions, as you've heard C40 is doing, we will also provide leadership. We'll direct our budgets. We'll ensure health, social services, and emergency responses are oriented towards increasing heat, protecting those who are most vulnerable, and ensuring that we have the built environment and the infrastructure to meet the temperatures of the future. This is our collective commitment in response to rising global temperatures and the UN Secretary General's call to action on extreme heat. Every tree planted, every home cooled, every life protected brings us closer to a more just and sustainable world. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, for your powerful address. And now that we know everyone, now that we know the group who was standing up here, we've heard the ambition, and now we must ground that all in facts, all in numbers, in measurable delivery. The next speaker is the Executive Director of C40, Mark Watts. Mark has truly been a part of the network's journey since its founding, ensuring C40's strategy is always focused on tangible and people-centered outcome, as we've heard here from the other mayors. Mark will anchor the next part of this plenary in data, providing the evidence that accelerated action is actually working. Please, let's welcome Mark Watts to the stage.
Good morning, everyone. Bon dia. And a huge thank you to Mayor Pires, Mayor Khan, Mayor Akisoya for getting us off to such an amazing, dynamic start this morning. And a big thank you also to Mike Bloomberg for his unwavering support for C40 over many years and for hosting this whole local leaders forum of which our summit is part today. Thank you also to our generous sponsors of this summit who make it all possible for us to meet together. I want to talk to you today about choices. Now, you've probably all made 100 choices already today, from what to eat at breakfast, what clothes to put on, in my case, which hat to wear today. I'm not talking about those choices, but the kind of choices that only the people in this room who serve as city leaders get to make. And C40 itself is the product of a momentous choice made by city mayors 20 years ago to create a climate organization of cities, not because anyone told them to do so, but because somebody needed to take leadership to protect the people and places that we love. And 10 years ago, C40 mayors made another big choice, to make it a condition of membership to take action consistent with limiting global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees. And again, no national government, no citywide vote required our mayors to go beyond the 2-degree limit of the Paris Agreement or to set a target to collectively halve emissions by 2030. We have lost a small number of member cities along the way by setting such tough and rigorous leadership standards, but we've made our collective strength immeasurably greater. And as a result of those decisions, 3 years ago in Buenos Aires, I was able to show that C40 cities emissions, which is the light blue line on the graph that you see, were trending strongly away from the previous business as usual path. And I'm delighted to say that because of the choices made by people in this room, the latest data, you can see the yellow line there, shows an even better position. And in fact, as we heard from Mayor Khan earlier, the really good news here is that 73% of C40 cities, for which we've got sufficient data, have peaked their emissions, and those emissions are now going down despite growing populations and growing economies. And yet, the tough choices still remain ahead of us. You can see a new line now added to this graph, the green line. That's the reduction pathway that we now need to get on. And we need to cut emissions while improving resilience and ensuring a just transition to clean, green, thriving economies. So what are those difficult choices that now our city leaders in this room need to make to shift that curve and create a world in which all people can thrive? There could be thousands. I want to focus on 6. The first of which is to choose to enact citywide clean air regulations by 2030. And here, the challenge is political rather than technical. Air pollution sensors are now affordable at scale, and some pioneering cities, as we have heard, have successfully introduced clean air zones. But in many cities, disinformation by vested interests provokes opposition despite the fact that clean air is good for everyone. So we need to take confidence from how Mayor Khan has overcome severe disinformation to build strong public support for the world's largest clean air zone, or Bogotá's urban zones for better air, which preempted opposition by designing the zone to benefit the least well-off and engaging households and schools to make the strategy their own. Second, we need to choose to make urban planning fit for the 21st century. Now, we've just heard from Mayor Akisoya about launching our new Cool Cities Accelerator because of the rising challenges of heat and water resilience. Our data shows us that every city needs to have 30 to 40% green or water-absorbing surfaces by the end of this decade. And we've got to improve housing while increasing density, so moving people closer together, not further apart, so cities don't eat into their surrounding landscape. Like Cape Town's urban growth boundary, which promotes efficient land use and reduces urban sprawl, or the 33 kilometers of new green corridors in this beautiful city of Rio. Third, we need to choose to ensure that every child has a healthy and sustainable daily meal while cutting food waste. Now, this probably doesn't sound like a climate measure, but ensuring that a green transition delivers more equitable society starts with overcoming hunger. And 30% of emissions are linked to food and food waste. And we've seen around the world, city governments can deliver really transformatory change, like in Nairobi, which in just 2 years has provided a daily meal packed with fruit, vegetable, and grains to 300,000 children in city-run schools. And while Tokyo has already achieved its 2030 target of halving food waste. Fourth, and perhaps the biggest one here, to choose to end fossil fuel dependency. 81% of existing power plant capacity in C40 cities is still fossil fuel based. Now, yes, there's been a 300% increase in renewable energy, which we should celebrate, but new demands for power, like energy-hungry data centers, threaten to drive fossil fuel consumption further up rather than stopping all new fossil fuel capacity as is needed. And so here, like Singapore, which is mandating that all new data centers must be powered by 100% renewable energy, or Portland, which uses planning regulations to limit the construction of fossil fuel storage facilities. Fifth, we need to shift up a gear on vehicle electrification. Every city needs emissions-free transport. Like now 31 C40 cities where all new buses are already zero emission. or like our lane shift cities, Rio, Curitiba, Mexico City, Bengaluru, Chennai, which are creating markets for electric freight vehicles. Or like Shenzhen, which now has more super-fast electric vehicle charging stations than gas stations. And sixth, if we're going to do all of this, and we have to do much more as well, we're going to need to change the way we make decisions. Because think back to the graph at the start, we're moving very fast, but not yet fast enough. We need to strive to do better than the recently announced national climate commitments, and because residents need to see that the green transition is just and fair, which is why it's now part of C40's leadership standards that cities deliver annual climate budgets, meaning all city departments contribute towards climate targets. Like Mumbai, which has assessed the climate, social, economic, and gender benefits of each city activity as part of its climate budget, or Oslo, whose really pioneering climate budget now includes targets for adaptation and consumption. And it's also why many cities have come to Brazil, as Mayor Khan told us, with a yearly offer of action. The world is not on track, and we need to shift climate talks from negotiation to action, as we'll hear later from Anatoni, the COP chief executive. And that's where cities are already global leaders. And so rather than pledging what might happen in 10 or 20 years, C40 and GCOM mayors will later set out on this stage the practical action that they will take in the next 12 months to meet their climate action plan targets. This is our yearly offer of action and our contribution to the response plan that we heard the UN Secretary General call for earlier, and I'm sure Selwyn Hart, his special advisor, will talk to us more about later. We'll take those yearly offers of action to Belém, to COP30, where we look forward to being part of Brazil's Global Mutirão, a community collaboration on climate. And Anna, I hope you agree, C40 is already an example of a global mutirão, multilateralism that works. But looking forward to Belém, we're also proud that C40 is increasingly collaborating with national governments, particularly those that have joined the CHAMP coalition, and we hope for an outcome at COP30 that creates ongoing space for a partnership between local, regional, and national governments. Now, you know in C40 we always like to look forwards, but sometimes it's also good to celebrate past success. And so I'm finishing here with a QR code on the screen. I encourage you all to download the positive C40 energy that's contained within this. There's a few printed copies as well, so grab them if you can see them. It's a 20-year celebration of C40 cities making the right choices, showing us how far that we've come, but also how much further we must go. Because with all of the knowledge, the collaboration that we have at our hands today, if the world descends further into climate breakdown, it will not be by chance, but by choice as well. But if we make the right choices now, we can deliver even more in the next 5 years than we have in the last 20. Thanks everyone here for your leadership, for your partnership, and have a wonderful summit. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark, for showing the true impact of this very powerful network. So we've heard all these incredible things that have been achieved, and we've seen also the data, the numbers to prove it. It's possible. We've also discussed the partnerships needed for all this, and now I'd like to showcase the engine of the C40 movement, our mayors, who are all here. With that in mind, I'd like to welcome mayors to the stage for the lightning room now. Let's start. Let's please welcome to the stage Yvonne Akisoya, Mayor of Freetown. Nick Rees, Lord Mayor of Melbourne. Kate Gallego, Mayor of Phoenix. Harris Doukas, Mayor of Athens. His Excellency Youssef Al-Shawabe, Mayor of Amman. Dr. Nassifi Moya, Executive Mayor of Shuana. Hui Li, Secretary General of Nanjing. So, you've already heard, I'm sure, references to the yearly offer of action, which contributes to the COP30 action agenda. So now, I'm under strict instruction to let you speak for 2 minutes. So I will call you one by one, and I ask you to please stick to your 2 minutes. Oh, I know it's not very easy because we have a lot to say, a lot of achievements. But without now further ado, let me hand over then to Yvonne Akisoyo, Mayor of Freetown. If you can explain why this initiative is so important, and also give an overview of Freetown's offer of action.
Okay, thank you so much, Vanessa. So I think it kind of goes without saying, you've just heard from 3 mayors prior to now, and C40, the C40 Executive Director, and it's clear that mayors don't believe in talk, we believe in action. As a result, as we move forward to this COP30, we're wanting to take that culture of action into COP30. We need that sense of urgency to be reflected. And so for the first time, what's happening here is that the global mayors, mayors from C40 and the Global Covenant of Mayors, are coming together for us to drive a different agenda. We intend to do this every year and ensure that we're not talking about what will happen in 5 years from now or 10 years or 20 years, but what will happen in the next 12 months. So at this moment, you'll briefly hear from all of these wonderful mayors here, their yearly offer of action. What is it that they are going to do in their cities within the next 12 months to make a difference and ensure that the graph that was shown by Mark, the gap between the projection now and 1.5, that we're able to close that. So from rebuilding social housing to rapidly rolling out e-buses, as we saw in the slides just now, you will hear from these mayors their specifics. But before I hand over to my colleagues, I will quickly say, what is Freetown's yearly offer? So you've heard already that my city, like many others, has the threat of extreme heat, and those who are most vulnerable are those who are working outdoors, particularly women in the marketplaces, who spend a lot of time in the sun. So we have done research which has confirmed that many of these women are now suffering from dehydration-related conditions, increased fatigue, dizziness, and a heightened risk of heat stroke. At the same time, their livelihoods are jeopardized because heat also means that their produce is more likely to go off, and it reduces footfall. So our yearly offer, first of all, by 2026, we are intensifying our efforts to protect the 32+% of Freetonians who live in 82 informal settlements, many of whom are women. And in so doing, we are going to be installing improved cold storage facilities in 6 local markets. We're going to be adding shade canopies in those markets, and we're expanding cool roofing to protect the most exposed communities. That's what we're doing in terms of heat. In terms of sanitation, which is our second largest emissions, we will be reducing organic waste emissions by 20% by transforming organic waste into clean energy, and at the same time expanding composting initiatives. That is taking us towards a path of 40% reduction by 2028. This will not only advance the circular economy, but it will also create good green jobs for low-income communities. Thank you. That's our yearly offer of action. Back to you, Vanessa.
Thank you. in the cities, in Brazilian cities, we all relate to all those challenges that you just mentioned. So thank you for addressing that. Next, I'd like to invite Kate Gallego, Mayor of Phoenix, to speak about the action.
Wonderful. I serve as chair of Climate Mayors, a coalition of 350 US cities, and I bring good news from the United States. If you are from the United States, could you please raise your hand? We have 50 cities represented here who are all committed to ambitious climate action. So while our national government goes backwards, these cities go forward, and it's a pleasure to be here with you with so many ambitious mayors. I'm speaking on behalf of Phoenix. We're a desert city where incredible things are happening, the 5th largest city in the United States, home to more than 1.7 million people. Climate resilience is in our nature. While Phoenix is the epitome of beautiful weather for more than half the year, you heard earlier about the challenges we see in our summer. This year, we hit 118 degrees, nearly 48 degrees Celsius, not once, but twice, breaking records for both days. Year over year, Phoenix has doubled down to improve resources and services to keep our residents, especially those who are most vulnerable, safe during summer months. Our yearly offer of action focuses on both immediate relief and long-term action. We're taking bold action to address this crisis. Our signature plan, Shade Phoenix, is a $60 million investment to deliver 27 new trees and 550 new shade structures in the neighborhoods that are most vulnerable. In the year ahead, we'll increase our installation of both natural and built shade and continue to pilot cool surface technology to protect our residents and infrastructure. We'll continue expanding resources by providing new cooling spaces for 5,000 residents, rolling out heat relief training to all city employees, and implementing innovative cooling techniques used by paramedics who are responding to heat emergency. Our climate is context for everything we care about. Let me be clear. Good climate policy is good economic policy. Companies want to be safe, secure, and have great locations to conduct business. Over the last decade, Phoenix has emerged as a burgeoning center of bioscience and advanced manufacturing. I'm focused on building a high-wage, dynamic economy in which we're getting the highest number of jobs and highest value for my residents with our limited precious resources. As Mark mentioned, we must act now on the unprecedented investments in AI and data infrastructure so that they're made in results that improve outcomes for our communities. I'm asking all interested partners to collaborate with me on a global initiative for responsible and inclusive data infrastructure, GRID initiative, driving proactive dialogue with all stakeholders to align best practices, common standards, and encourage projects that use clean energy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. We all like good news. That's very important. So now we have the opportunity to hear Nick Rees, Lord Mayor of Melbourne. Please walk us through what you're committing to.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Hola, bom dia. My name's Nick Rees. I am here from Melbourne, Australia. And indeed, we have come here today from all points of the globe. And as Sadiq reminded us, we all love our cities and are so proud of them. But today we walk shoulder to shoulder together, seeking to solve the greatest crisis that humanity faces. In Australia, we know the threat of climate change only too sharply, only too devastatingly. In the recent Black Summer bushfires, we lost to wildfire an area the size of England and Wales combined. 3 billion animals were killed. 3 billion. So in our cities, it's not abstract, it's not existential, it is actually life-threatening. At the City of Melbourne, we were the first city in Australia to adopt the UN Sustainable Development Goals. We have now incorporated them into the reporting systems for our city. It's how we measure our performance now, a holistic measure. We have also got our city off gas. In the next year, we will remove the final 11 buildings and centres across our city still using gas. At that point, we will be 100% renewables. We are also creating Melbourne as a garden city, building 16 new parks in the next year, building walls, laneways, rooftops, increasing our canopy cover from our trees to 40% of our streets. Truly, truly a huge undertaking. And here in Rio, like my friend and Mayor of Phoenix, we are also looking to a new challenge, and that is around the rise of energy and water consumption by data centres and AI infrastructure. We know these technologies have huge promise for humankind, but we also know that they are using energy and water at an alarming and unsustainable level. So let us work on that as a challenge in the coming days, amongst the many others that we'll be here working on. So can I finish by picking up a point that we heard from Mayor Sadiq Khan, that we do meet at a time and in a world where it has never been more important for cities to step up. We are the innovators, we are the implementers, and we are the government that is closest to the people. We can bring the people with us. So let's make the next 3 days a new chapter in this struggle. Let's meet those targets, because without a word of exaggeration, the world is depending on us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor. You talked about mitigation, adaptation, key topics, especially this year, with striking figures. That was enlightening. Thank you. Thank you. And now I'd like to hear from His Excellency Youssef Al-Shawabi, Mayor of Amman. Please walk us through your offer of action.
Good morning, everyone. Allow me to speak in
صباح
Arabic.
الخير. I'm going to speak in Arabic.
عمان تواجه مثل أي مدينة
Amman
تحديات
faces
حضارية
many
ملحة
challenges, crucial
متمثلة بالنمو
challenges
السكاني المتزايد
with regards to the growing population as a result of migrations and immigrations and as a result of the climate change.
وأيضا من تغير أنماط الأمطار
And also
وتكرار
the
الفيضانات
impact of the
المفاجئة
climate change
وارتفاع درجات
from shifting
الحرارة.
rainfall patterns to flash floods and rising temperatures. Yet we see these challenges as opportunities to make our city Amman greener, stronger, and more sustainable. Over the coming year, we will take concrete actions to protect six food-borne areas using smart water systems and nature-based solutions, and transforming them into vibrant public spaces that strengthen community ties and enhance our city's resilience. Expand our low and zero-emission transport options. The recently launched we expanded the zero-emission transport options. The recently launched green route for BRT connects Ramadan to Swaleh with electric buses, and by year's end, we will add 20 new limited emissions buses to our fleet. Improving mobility for over 4.5 million residents. At the same time, we will also grow our solid waste management and source separation project with new sorting systems at 3 additional pilot sites, reinforcing a circular green economy.
من شهر كانون 2026 كانون ثاني 2026
and also implement a new bylaw on urban planning and climate integration starting January, ensuring that every new development contributes to reducing emissions
أهداف في خفض الانبعاثات وتعزيز
and also
الارتقاء
boosting
والتوعية
energy
بزيادة
efficiency
المساحات الخضراء.
and increasing
حيث يمثل
green
هذا
spaces,
الإطار التشريعي
a
تحولاً جوهرياً
transformative
في مسار
step in
التنمية
shaping a
الحضرية
resilient,
في عمان ويسهم
inclusive
في بناء
city in
مدينة
Amman.
أكثر مناعة وشمولية. تراعي العدالة في
This
توزيع
is
الخدمات
Amman's
وتعزز
annual
جودة
work
الحياة
showcase,
والازدهار
turning ambition into action and action into a model of
هذا هو العرض
sustainability and
السنوي
resilience.
للعمل لمدينة عمان.
This is the annual showcase. We transform ambitions into action and action into a model of sustainability and resilience. Thank you, and I wish you all success.
It's very interesting to hear it's so many people, it impacts so many people. Now, I'd like to hand over to Dr. Nassifi Moya, Executive Mayor of Shuan, who will tell us about the ambitious work that he's doing the next 12 months.
Thank you so much. Good morning, fellow mayors and friends and colleagues. I represent the city of Tshwane, a city of over 4 million people, a city of stark inequalities. In our city, we host the richest and the poorest. So the struggle against inequality is something that we need to use these opportunities to try and address in our city. But it's also a city of young people. Over 58% of our population is 35 years of age and younger. That means we are a city full of hope. Future is bright for us. But that will depend on what we do with this opportunity. In the next year, as the executive mayor, I will host 50 mayoral Riaspana program. Riaspana means we are working. That program will target to plant 100,000 trees in townships. In townships, that's where most of the poorest, those that were marginalized under the apartheid system, still stay. And we need to cover their areas like the affluent areas have been covered in the city of Tshwane. We will start 7 food gardens that aim to support the poorest, old and young. That's what we will do through the Riaspana. But we need to be focused on improving our air quality. So there's going to be a lot of work in making sure that we clean our communities, because there are communities in our city that looks very forgotten. So that 50 mayoral Riaspana program will focus on improving the lives of people in the most basic way, but in a way that will protect them in the future. The second commitment that the city of Tshwane is making is that we will implement the embedded generation policy. We need to start promoting energy mix. We have started this process, and we have partnered with private sector who has come to the party and helping us to promote energy mix. The third commitment that I'm making on behalf of the people of the city of Tshwane is the promise that is quite important for us as an African city, where often our institutions are weak. That we have a program, Mark, that we've been piloting with C40 called Climate Budget Finance. We've been piloting for far too long. When we hosted the U20 summit, we made a commitment that City of Tshwane will move from rhetoric to action, that some of the projects that we've been piloting, finally they must be brought to action. Starting this financial year, we will go large scale in implementing the budget finance facility to what it was intended. What we need to make sure of, the investment that we need to make on our infrastructure going forward, it must go through this facility and respond to the question, is this helping us to respond to the impact of climate change? Is this going to help us to resolve the infrastructure challenges that we have, to make sure that they are sustainable, that we are using the right technology, that we will make sure that we have, for instance, an energy and water secure future. So you have that promise that by December 2026, these are the commitments that I can make on behalf of the people of Tshwane. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Climate change is all about the young population too, definitely. Thank you for bringing that up. That's very important. And next, I'd like to pass over to Hui Li, Secretary General of Nanjing, to share Nanjing's plans over the next year.
好，谢谢主持人。
Thank you, Presenter. I'm delighted to come to the beautiful city of Rio. I would like to share some of our practice of building a green city with you. I would also take this opportunity to learn from the other cities. Everyone knew in September this year, our president in the UN meeting declared our carbon neutral and carbon peak target. Our city has over 3,000 years of history. We are facing great challenge. Our task is very, very serious. We have to start from the beginning. Yeah, we need to make an effort in 3 areas. First of all, we need to build a city of clean energy. For example, we need to start the we need to reduce our emission and to use our clean energy. We need to increase our use of clean energy to more than 50%. We need to also promote green mobility. We aim to build a low-carbon emission city. We have a lot of traditional energies, for example, like the petroleum industry and our steel industry. We need to transform those industries. We need to nurture. We need to nurture some green regions. We want to make more factories reach zero emission target. Thirdly, we want to build the most suitable city for the residents. We need to promote low energy consumption buildings. We need to achieve 210 million square meters green residential area. We want all our residential area to become green. We are a very populated city. We have 10.2 million regular residents. We want to learn from you. We want to work with the cities who are very advanced in green technology. Thank you very much.
Sustainable building is one of the hardest areas to abate, and that's key for development. Very interesting to hear. Thank you so much. And last but not least, I'd like to introduce Harry Doukas, Mayor of Athens. Thank you for sharing with us your plans.
Thank you very much. I'm really glad and honored to be here with you today. I'm the Mayor of Athens, one of the most beautiful cities of the world, I hope, but I think a cradle of democracy, arts, and philosophy for all. And indeed, we are now facing some of the most pressing challenges of our time: intensive heat waves, higher demand for cooling, serious problem with air pollution and vehicle emissions. And in this respect, our yearly offer of action is threefold. First of all, greening our spaces, then smarter waste management using technology, and of course, energy upgrading of our buildings. We are already planting 5,000 trees every year. We are creating microforests within the city. We have already created an energy poverty alleviation office with zero municipal fees for the most vulnerable citizens. And for 2026, we have a decisive step forward, since we will transform our waste management system with a fully data-driven system. This means 360 sanitation vehicles with telematics, 12,000 bins with digital tracking tags, and 1,000 smart sensors measuring how full each bin is. Moreover, we are also rolling out a real-time quality monitoring system with sensors across the city in order to be able to have targeted actions in terms of air quality all around the neighborhoods. And of course, we are also, as a key priority, 300 school buildings to be fully renovated in terms of energy. So this is Athens' yearly offer of action, and we will continue. We'll come with an offer of action each and every year until climate breakdown is brought under control. Thank you very much.
We definitely hope that there's a list of ideas here, essentially, that can be inspiring for every single leader in this room, with new ideas and also how we relate to the challenges. Thank you all. Now, to close this lightning round, I'd like to turn back to C40 co-chair and mayor of Freetown, Ivona Sawyer, to give us a quick wrap-up of what we've heard and what is next.
Okay, so we've heard the yearly offer of action. 7 mayors have said what they are going to do in the next 12 months. When you multiply this by the hundreds of mayors who are members of C40 and the Global Covenant of Mayors, you begin to understand how these yearly offers of action are going to make the transformative impact that we are confident can be led by cities. I'd like to thank everyone for what they've said and to encourage everyone in the room and beyond, particularly our national governments, our businesses, our communities, our international organizations, to take this as the model going forward. We need to move away from negotiation to action, and there's no better way to do it than to commit yourself to what can be done in the immediate future. So, acting together with urgency and with determination, we are confident that we can truly turn the tide, we can close the gap, and we can secure a safer, more resilient world for the generations to come. Thank you, colleagues, and to you all, we can do this. The yearly offer of action is the way it's going to happen.
Please. Thank you for the round of applause, and thank you, mayors, for taking part of this. I might ask you to now leave the stage for the next step. That was really, I love the name, lightning round, because this is what it's about. It's about light. Thank you. So, our next session is also a vital discussion on bridging the gap between national ambition and local delivery. That has been emphasized by the Brazilian presidency's call for mutirão. Mutirão is a word meaning a collective effort, the move from negotiation to action, a topic that we've been talking a lot about this morning. So to moderate this important session, I'd like to introduce Antha Williams, Head of Environment Programs at Bloomberg Philanthropies. Thank you, Antha. Antha is a true change maker, and under her direction, Bloomberg Philanthropies has helped to drive a global transition from fossil fuels to clean energy, improve air quality in cities around the world, accelerate climate action in cities, continue to protect the ocean, and decisively unlocking sustainable finance. It's a lot. Thank you all for your support and work, Antha. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So good morning, I'm Antha Williams. I lead the environment program at Bloomberg Philanthropies, and we work around the world to ensure better, longer lives for the greatest number of people. We really focus on tackling climate change in the places where it matters most, the cities, the states and regions, the countries, and across the systems where we can drive the biggest reductions in the pollution that causes climate change. For more than a decade, we've worked really closely with C40, supporting mayors turning climate commitments into measurable actions. From clean transport and air quality to climate finance and resilience, this partnership has helped define what effective climate action on the global stage can look like. But our work doesn't stop there. We collaborate with many of the other amazing organizations that are represented here in the room today, including ICLEI, UCLG, the Global Covenant of Mayors, and many more. And it's really fantastic to see such a strong showing today, all united in the shared commitment to deliver action. And the lightning round we just witnessed captured that spirit perfectly. This is really the exact kind of leadership that delivers on the COP30 presidency's priority, moving from negotiation to implementation. So to explore what this shift means for global climate leadership, I'm joined by two extraordinary partners in this work. I'll invite them to the stage. Anna Tony, the Chief Executive Officer of COP30, whose vision is anchoring this COP in delivery, inclusion, and collaboration. Thank you so much, Anna. And Selwyn Hart, the Special Advisor to the UN Secretary General on Climate Action and Just Transition, and Assistant Secretary General for the Climate Action Team. Thank you, Selwyn. Selwyn's leading climate action that is not just fast, but fair. So thank you for that leadership. Really appreciate you both taking the time to be here and for everything that you're doing to drive this era of action. Anna, I want to start with you. We just heard from mayors their pledges to come back every year with new actions until climate change is under control. So what does that tell you about leadership, ambition, and hope in this moment?
Thank you, Adam. And thank you so much. I mean, this meeting 3 days before the COP gives us so much good energy, so much hope that we are on the right direction. So it's really amazing to be here. And I wanted to thank the two co-mayors and that you hosting this meeting, Mayor Khan and Mayor Akisom. Thank you so much. I wanted also to acknowledge our Mayor Paz, that's also welcoming us here. This is just amazing, and Bloomberg's philanthropy. So much good energy. This is a multirão. This is exactly what we're talking about at COP30, to have this feeling of multirão that we can do, and there is urgency to it. And when André Correa do Lago, the president of COP30, we start this work on COP30 presidency, for us was very clear that we can only do that with the very people that are in the front line of climate change, and that is mayors. You're there every day having to make the decisions that Mark just mentioned to us, very hard decisions on the day-to-day life together with the people. So for us that are coming now from the next 4 days, it gives us a little feeling that, of urgency for COP. But we had 3 goals for COP30. The first one was to strengthen multilateralism. Second was for us to accelerate action, and we showed just what we heard here. And the third objective was to show how climate change can positively benefit people on the ground, the real lives of people. And for those 3 goals, we can only achieve with the mayors. There is no doubt about that. That's why in Brazil we have put the subnational role of mayors and state governors at the front line in our own NDCs. And what we are hoping now at COP30 that we can make this concrete. And how can we make this concrete? We just heard from the UN that has been a great partner the three major reports this week, yes, Selwyn. We had the NDC Cincy report, we had the NAP Cincy report, and we had the GAP report on adaptation. And when we read through those three reports, it placed the role of cities at the center of the action. So it gives me so much hope to hear what we heard today, that action is what's going to give us more ambition. And let us take this spirit that we're building here in Rio to Belém. And if we are able to do that with the 300 mayors that are here, I'm sure COP30 will be a huge success. So I first of all wanted to thank everybody. I want to invite all of you to Belém. And it's not only you are welcome, we need you. We need your vision, we need your pragmatism, and we need your actions. So please do join us in COP30 in Belém. This is already part of the COP30, but we will also need your energy. We were talking about that energy that we see here, hopefully will be the energy that we see in Belém. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. There's a strong contingent here taking this on the road to Belém, and I've heard you say before that you're looking in your leadership of the COP for some positive disruption. So hopefully this set of mayors and their strong action is delivering that. So when we heard the Secretary General this morning calling for this COP to mark the start of a decade of acceleration to get the world on track to meet our climate goals, how can mayors help drive that acceleration, and how can we embed their work even better in the COP process?
Antha, thank you so much, and I want to thank you and Mike and the entire team at Bloomberg Philanthropies, really, for your amazing leadership. The reality, and also for the great partnership with Anatoni and the Brazilian COP30 presidency, C40, you've been a strong and determined partner. Mayor Khan, Sawyer, all of you, Mayor Pius, thank you so much. And this has been such an inspirational morning, and a few days ahead of the COP, in the midst of all the geopolitical tensions and divisions, it is truly amazing and inspirational to see what is happening in this room, but more importantly, what is happening on the ground in your cities. One of you said that cities are on the front lines of the climate crisis, which is absolutely true. You are seeing in real time the impacts of accelerating climate extremes. But you're also on the forefront of the transformation. You're not only talking about climate action in terms of reducing emissions, it's delivering clean air, it's delivering good jobs, it's ensuring competitiveness, it's ensuring energy security. So we need you more than ever as we head into the second decade of implementation of the Paris Agreement. And despite all that you have heard and that you are hearing, we've made progress. It's not good enough, it's not fast enough, it's not at the scale that we need, but we've made progress. 10 years ago, going into Paris, the world was heading towards 4 degrees Celsius of warming. Tomorrow, UNEP will release its annual emissions gap report. It has shown that with each successive round of the national climate plans, we've been able to cut that long-term temperature projection. Are we on track for the 1.5 degree target? No. But the reality is that 10 years on, the solutions that many of you have led in deploying, the solutions are readily available, they're cheap, and they're accessible. A decade ago, it took 1 week to deploy 1 gigawatt of solar power globally. By the end of this year, it will take 12 hours. So within 26 minutes, 1 gigawatt of solar would have been deployed today. 10 years ago, it took an entire week. So we are making progress. We need speed and scale. And this is why the Secretary General has asked that this COP really serves as a launch pad for for that decade of acceleration and implementation. Already, 125 parties to the Paris Agreement, representing around 80% of global emissions, they've either announced or submitted their new national climate plans. Many of them did that at the September 24th summit that President Lula and the Secretary General co-convened. And we were very happy that many of the mayors were in attendance and also the C40 leadership. And we will need you more than ever to over-deliver on these climate plans. You've done it before. We need you to over-deliver on these national climate plans. And our own internal analysis has shown that many countries have opted for safe climate plans amidst all of the geopolitical uncertainty and division. And we need this COP to provide leaders, political leaders, with the confidence and certainty that they need, that the political and economic and trading conditions will be in place. We need you to continue to build bridges and also to dismantle the barriers and walls. And we also need you to bring the people along, to counter the mis and disinformation that we're seeing. So more than ever, your leadership will be essential. And the next decade, I am absolutely confident, I hope we are collectively confident that it will be a decade of acceleration and implementation.
Fantastic. Well, hopefully the mayors in the room are hearing that the world is counting on you. And you're both hearing mayors are not waiting, they're delivering. And so whether it's the COP30 presidency call for action and implementation or the UN call for a just transition, we're seeing mayors lead the way. Anna, you look like you're itching to get a word in.
I was just going to say, as I said, I think I really want to emphasize that all the mayors here are extremely welcome and needed in Belém. But I want to especially invite the American mayors to be, and thank you for being here and to show the leadership that you show in the US at this moment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anna, for your extraordinary leadership of COP30 and Selwyn at the UN. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna, Antha, and Selwyn for this very interesting panel. Thank you for staying, Selwyn. Super interesting panel discussion. I'd like now to invite Catherine McKenna to join Selwyn and I. Please, thank you. Meanwhile, I will be introducing Catherine. She's the chair of the UN Secretary General's high-level expert group on net zero commitments of non-state entities. As Canada's former Minister of Environment and Climate Change, she was instrumental in negotiating Article 6 of Paris Agreement at COP21. And led the development of Canada's first national climate plan, including a price on pollution. Catherine is here today to present the Integrity Matters. That's a report, Integrity Matters, Winning the Future. Now, over to you, Catherine.
Well, thank you very much. I'm really, really thrilled to be here. Thanks to my good friend Anna Tony and Brazil, for your steadfast leadership and just keep on going. A huge thank you to Rio for hosting, and you're all invited to jump in tomorrow for Swimmable Cities at Copacabana Beach at 7 a.m. I'm not joking, I'm a swimmer. I also want to thank C40 and Mark Watts and all of the amazing climate mayors and local leaders who are here today. Thank you, in Mayor Khan's words, for being climate doers, not climate wreckers, and you're all #1 in my heart. When the Secretary General Antonio Guterres asked me in 2021 to lead the high-level expert group on net zero commitments of cities, regions, companies, and financial institutions, our goal was to leverage the power of non-state actors, including cities, to help accelerate the transition to net zero. Our first report, Integrity Matters, sets out clear criteria required to turn net zero pledges into real plans and to put an end to greenwashing. My second report as chair, Integrity Matters, the hard work is now, it highlighted progress made by non-state actors who are leading the way and made clear that leadership means implementation, not intention. I'm honored to launch today my third report, Integrity Matters, Winning the Future. It takes stock of the progress in the decades since Paris. It identifies where integrity has been strengthened and where it has slipped. And it sets out what must happen now and to 2034 to turn commitments into results consistent with the Paris Agreement so we can win the future. The message is simple. Staying the course on net zero is not about slogans or signaling virtue. It's about managing risks and continuing to accelerate real solutions that build a healthier, cleaner, and fairer world. It's also about competitiveness, investment, and energy security. Let's be 100% clear. The Paris Agreement is very much alive. Today, 83% of the global economy is covered by net zero pledges. These commitments, led by national governments, but supported by so many cities who are represented in this room, regions, companies, and investors, would simply not exist without the Paris Agreement, and they're making a difference. As my good friend Selwyn Hart pointed out, 10 years ago, the world was headed towards 4 degrees of warming. Now we've bent the curve toward closer to 2.5 degrees. That's not where we need to be, but it shows what's possible. And cities have been a huge part of this. The C40 network has helped nearly 100 major cities around the world take strong climate action, leading to a 7.5% drop in per-person emissions. That's 5 times the global average. Most of these cities are reducing emissions faster than their national governments, and almost all have climate plans that match the goals of the Paris Agreement. This is critically important in this moment. As I say in swimming terms, dig harder, drive for the wall. And of course, in this year of major geopolitical shifts, that's an understatement, city leadership has become even more important. And as a Canadian, I want to give a huge shout out to the Americans in this room. Where national ambitions have been clearly deranged, they've been deranged and derailed by President Trump, 350 US bipartisan mayors have formed effective networks like Climate Mayors and America's All In, led by my good friend Gina McCarthy, and of course, once again, like almost everything, supported by Bloomberg Philanthropies and Mike Bloomberg, demonstrating continuing climate leadership. Let's be clear. Progress only happens if we keep pushing, which is why my new report, dropping right now, Integrity Matters, Winning the Future, calls on non-state actors, cities, regions, companies, and financial institutions to continue following on the 10 Integrity Matters criteria and to focus on 6 big outcomes. Deliver credible transition plans. That means driving down emissions now, moving money from fossil fuels to clean, and doing it all with integrity and transparently reporting. We know you are doing that. 40 cities are doing that. Just keep on going. Support the big policy we need to meet 2030 benchmarks. In the city context, that means driving down emissions in your transportation, in your buildings, and across the board. And as you know, that is good for people, and that saves people money, and that will drive to the safe, sustainable, more inclusive world that we need. 3, we need to price climate risk fully. Call on your national governments to do that. We are understating climate risk at great cost to people and planet. And 2 new ones, fight climate disinformation. And I want to give a shout out to C40 cities for leading the way with a toolkit that tells you how to do it. Have a look, because we are going to fight for the truth. And we also, I want to recognize the UN and Brazil for focusing on climate disinformation and truth this year at COP30. And 6, we need to strengthen multilateral cooperation. It is like initiatives like this. It is through supporting the Paris Agreement. It is supporting the United Nations. It is supporting climate action globally and fighting those who want to break these institutions. It is only by working together that we will be able to tackle climate change. And I want to conclude. We need all non-state actors now, including and especially cities, to act with integrity and help lead the way to a net zero world. Progress is never a straight line, but we will win. Obrigado.
Obrigada. Paris is alive, Paris Agreement is alive, and we need to keep pushing. We got those. I think it was very clear. Thank you. Thank you. And now I would like to hand over to Selwyn also, please.
Thank you so much. And Catherine, as always, we've worked together closely on this issue over the course of the last few years. And the first report, the Integrity Matters report, came at a really critical juncture. And it helped us to distinguish between the public relations stunts of a few actors and those that were making genuine commitments to net zero. And it was C40. It was the cities that led the way. So Catherine, as always, thank you. Thank you so much. We look forward to implementing the excellent recommendations in this report. We're really at a critical juncture where more than ever, we need credible climate action that prioritizes people and that addresses the root causes of the climate crisis. I've also heard from many mayors that as you continue this journey to net zero, you also need the enabling conditions, one of which is a seat at the table and formal recognition within this global climate process. And I promise you privately, and I'll do it publicly, that you have our support. You have the support of the United Nations on this. Ultimately, the decision will need to be taken by parties, but you have our full support, and we will push parties to provide you with that formal recognition. And secondly, is the access to finance to make these plans a reality. And this was one of the key aspects of the original Integrity Matters report, and I'm sure it's also part of this as well. And this primarily applies to cities and regions from the global south. And we will be working with you and the global climate funds and the MDBs and all of the providers of finance to make this a reality. And we know that some of the MDBs have already started to put this in place, and we can build on those models. So that your yearly offer, when we return next year to COP31, we can see not only another round of daily offers, but that we can clearly demonstrate that we're clearly delivering in support of all of the excellent efforts that you are making. So Catherine, thank you so much. And this partnership is by no means over. We will continue to depend on you, Jane, and all of the members of your team to help us to provide that stir of integrity and credibility as we go into the next decade of acceleration and implementation.
Thank you. Thank you both for sharing this very important information and all the reports and data with us. I'd like to ask you now to leave the stage. You're going to have another good round. So let's give a round of applause to Catherine and Selwyn. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, and this has been exciting. This has been very interesting. As we draw this plenary to a close now, let's collectively pause for a second and reflect. So the climate crisis is at its core a crisis of inequality, demanding that we prioritize the most vulnerable and truly listen to the generation that is coming. With that in mind, I invite you all to welcome C40 Youth Hub members to the stage who are here to deliver a very important message.
This is Juliet. She grew up in Homaline, Koru, a quiet village 6 hours away from Nairobi. She fondly remembers her childhood surrounded by lush green hills, the scent of freshly tilled soil, and frequent visits to her grandmother's farm in Kano. Over the years, she started to notice unsettling changes. The rains that once came like clockwork began to fade, and the droughts would leave the soil cracked and lifeless. She vividly remembers standing beside her grandmother as she stared at her wilted maize field one particular dry season. Her words in Dholuo still echoes in her mind. "The land is tired, my child. It no longer knows when to rest or when to give." She witnessed her grandparents lose all their livestock to devastating floods. The animals that represented years of efforts, security, and dignity to them. The same floods contaminated water sources, and in the aftermath, she lost a cousin to cholera. It was then when she realized just how the impacts of climate change are never just environmental. They ripple into public health, livelihoods, and the social fabric of families.
This is Leticia at age 3. She grew up in a tiny family in Rio de Janeiro and was especially close to her grandfather, Hilton, who fondly calls her Lê. She recalls watching science fiction movies with her family, which often portrayed scenes of environmental collapse and extreme weather events. This helped her understand the important relationship between humanity and nature, and that people have the power to change the future. In 2010, a profound sorrow touched her life. She lost her beloved grandfather to a stroke during a year marked by record-high temperatures and intense heat waves, known to increase the incidence of this disease. This heartbreaking experience became a pivotal moment in her life, and she was determined to awake others to how deeply the climate crisis impacts every life, every family.
Let me tell you about Esther. She grew up near Akuru Bay, one of Freetown's largest informal settlements. She has many fond childhood memories with friends who live there and whom she walked with to school every day. During the raining season, her friend's life changed. Heavy floods would destroy homes, wash away belongings, and force families to start from scratch. Her friends often missed school for weeks because their books, uniforms, and shoes were ruined. She recalled gathering with her sisters some of their clothes to donate to others, but feeling sad as while they could help a few, so many others were suffering silently. Children whose families couldn't afford to replace what they had lost, and young girls who faced the danger and trauma that comes with displacement and poverty. These memories has left an indelible mark and shape of purpose. She realized that many of the environmental challenges people face were rooted in social injustice, inequality, and poor urban planning.
Anjali, like any other child, loved being outside. Her most treasured memories were with playing at her local park, the wind in her hair, and the scent of blooming flowers every spring. As she grew up, she realized that the air she breathed was harming her and everyone around her, and that living next to one of London's busiest roads made the constant hum of traffic a soundtrack to her life. It was a slow realization, a creeping unease that solidified into anger. The thought that the very air she breathed, the air she once took for granted during her outdoor adventures, was now a threat, and that ignited a fierce determination within her. She knew then that she couldn't just stand by. It was time to act, to fight for the clean air her community deserved, and for the simple joy of breathing freely under an open sky.
These are just some of the stories all too familiar to young people all over the world. Memories of their childhood, which should be filled with joy and carefree play, but are instead overshadowed by their world unraveling in plain sight. One flood, one heat wave, one breath at a time.
Despite this, they do not let these stories lock them into apathy. Youth are rising with urgency, refusing to wait for the world to fix itself. Full of hope and with voices demanding change, they have been doing inspiring things to fix a problem that they did not cause.
All over the world, young people are stepping up and taking decisive action to safeguard the future of our planet.
They are working with their cities, mayors, and local partners to accelerate climate action on the ground.
I am Juliet, and I am devoted to connecting the voices and experiences from grassroots with the policies and research that shape global action.
I am Leticia, and I am committed to advancing sustainable urban planning through my work as a researcher and spark understanding through educating, training, and supporting all the young people with what textbooks left out.
I am Esther, and I work hard to mentor young women in Freetown, equipping them with the knowledge, confidence, and the funding to design and implement their own climate projects and understand the power their voices hold.
I am Anjali, and I advocate for the right to clean air. I have worked with my mayor and my city in strengthening clean air legislation. I am proud to drive this change with young people from across the world, from London to Joburg, working with initiatives like Breathe Cities to ensure cities and communities work hand in hand to clean the air we all breathe.
So whether we are at COP, at the City Hall, or in our communities, we are stepping up, building, collaborating, marching together, and leading the change on climate change.
Our efforts alone are not enough. We need you. Lasting change does not come through the work of just one generation. Real progress is forged through the power of intergenerational collaboration.
Mutirão, as we say here in Brazil.
We need you so that farmers like my grandmother no longer fear losing everything to floods.
We need you so we do not lose those we love to extreme heat.
We need you so children can study without worrying about missing school during the next rainy season.
We need you so kids can play outside and fully enjoy the air that they breathe.
All of you were once in our shoes and dreamt that one day you too could make a difference and build a better world.
You are like us, full of hope and energy, and doing amazing things despite the little support and recognition you received. You needed someone to listen to you, to help you achieve the things you wanted to accomplish. We need you to be that person for us.
Leaders, this is not the time to be timid. Now is the time to act. Invest in young people, work with us.
For the wisdom we need for the future will not come from a single generation, but from intergenerational collaboration rooted in respect, courage, and shared purpose.
We do this for our today, we do this for our tomorrow, and we will do this together.
Thank you.
How inspiring was that? Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you to our young climate leaders for that very inspiring moment. Can you stay? Join us, yes. Their call for mutirão reminds us that lasting change is only possible when we work together with a shared purpose. On behalf of C40, I'd like to once again say thank you to everyone who joined us today.
Okay, we're going to do a selfie. Can they stay there?
Yes, of course.
Who wants to be
Welcome.
in the selfie?